Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for returning to my YouTube channel. So grateful you can be joining me today. I know I'm late on getting a posting, but I've started a new job and then I was on holidays. So yeah, I'm really sorry that I'm behind, but hopefully today the bling and glitz of what we're doing today will make up for it. So what's really hilarious about this video is that this is the card for my parents for their anniversary. So I have to video this today because I'm giving them this card later today. So today we're going to be playing with foil. Um, how to use foils without having a hot foil machine. So this is going to be to them happy anniversary. And I just there's a little heart that got cut out of the die when I did it, and just write my message in there and everything for them. But I'm gonna show you how to do hot foiling, how to do foiling. Sorry, not hot foiling, foiling without having to have a hot press or even a laminator. That's part two of the series. We'll be doing foiling with a laminator, but for today, we're just going to do street foiling. So the supplies that you will need is you will need um, a transfer gel. So let's pull this up here. So this is by Deco Foil, okay, and it's called a transfer gel. The one that I'm using is the transfer gel duo, okay, because I can then use it with my heat foils and with the Deco Foil. If you have just the Deco foils, if you're one of those people who has the make machine and you've never used it, you just need to get the transfer gel. Okay. If you're like me and you have a hot foil machine, you have a bunch of hot foil rolls and things like that. If you get the transfer gel duo, you can use this for both techniques. So one which is just using the gel and a stencil and regular foil, or through with heat through a laminator. Okay. So that's the first thing that you're going to need is you're going to need something called a transfer gel. For the next technique will be for transfer gel duo for heat. So I just bought the duo because then I can use it for both. That I think makes it the easiest. Okay. The other thing that you're going to need is some foil. Okay. These are the Deco Foil tubes. These are by iCraft. And you're probably familiar with these if you have a mink machine or something like that. This is one of the this is the product that you use with that. Okay. So if you haven't pulled out your mink machine and don't know how to use it, or it's been a long time, but you still have a bunch of these sitting around, perfect technique for you. Okay. So I'm just going to put these to the side for now. The other thing that you're going to need is you're going to need a stencil. So this is a new stencil that I just got for my birthday, and it's by Simon Says Stamp, and it's called Peace, Joy, Hope, and Love. Obviously, it's a Christmas stencil, and I am using a piece of. I've already trimmed down my cardstock here, and this is I think 65 pound. It's not super heavy, so but it doesn't have to be a super heavy duty cardstock. Okay, you want a surface that you can get dirty, that's slick, whatever. I'm gonna tilt this back down just a wee bit, just in case I want to make sure that I'm staying in frame for you guys. Okay, so I'm going to use my Wendy Vecchi Make Art Station because I can stick my piece of card on there, and then I can also line up my stencil. So what I'm trying to do is I'm just going to center it as best I can. Obviously, this is a 6x6 stencil, so I'm going to have some overlap or overhang, and that's okay. That's fine for me. Let's see here. So I'm going to just grab my magnets, kind of hold it down there. Now, I have used this before, and so to keep it fresh, I have used, this is called, oh dear, I heard a sneeze coming, sorry. This is called Press and Seal. Pardon me, I'm so sorry. This is called Press and Seal, and what it does is it helps keep your wet mediums from drying out. So you can seal it right along the edge here, because just the lid is not enough. You'll actually get air into your liquid, any kind of liquid mediums that you have. If you don't use them a lot, this is a really good idea because it'll help seal it just like this. And I'm gonna have to pull that off, and that is a darn good seal. So I'm going to throw this piece away, and I will get a new piece when I'm done here today. Okay, so the other thing that I'm going to be using, because this is just the cat's meow, you can use a fancy spatula knife or anything like that. I'm actually going to use my Betty Crocker Duo spatula. It's silicone, which is great, so it washes off like a dream. And this was $1.25 at the Dollar Tree. $1.50 here in Canada, $1.25 in the States. But look at how well this tip fits into my jar, and I can get right down in there. So I'm going to take some of this, and I am going to put it onto my scrapbooking. I think this is from scrapbook.com. It's just a craft squeegee kind of thing, which is excellent for using for mediums such as this. Okay. And I am going to take this, I'm going to move this magnet out of the way to start with, and I am just going to drag this down my cardstock. Because these are words, I want to do a pretty good job of pushing this into the groove. You can still see that I have some on here, so that's fine. So I've still got a lot of medium onto cardstock here, and this is now pretty much stuck to my craft surface, so I can move my magnets. Okay, and I'm trying not to. It doesn't have to be a super thick coat. Okay, but you do want to make it as even as possible. So I'm kind of dragging and just doing the last little bit, picking up what's left off of here, and I'm just gonna squeegee that up, and I'm gonna put that back into the bottle here, or the jar, whatever you want to call that here. I don't want to waste any of it. Okay, when you're done with these, I'm going to give these a wipe with a baby wipe. But once I'm finished with these, I will be taking them to a sink, soaking them in soapy water, and giving them a good wash. Because this is a very sticky medium. You don't want to leave this on your tools, and particularly your stencils. Okay. I mean, this thing's only $1.25, so it's not the end of the world if I have to go and buy another one, but that's pretty wasteful, and I don't want to do that. So now I'm just going to give my squeegee a bit of a wipe down here. And before things dry out too much, I'm going to grab, so this is Press and Seal. It's by Glad, so you find it where the cling wrap or saran wrap is. This was actually created by Jennifer McGuire's husband. So it's by Glad. So you can find these in stores like Walmart, things like that. If you're in the UK, I think Craft Stash and maybe Simon Says Stamp actually ships this, because I don't think you can get this in the UK. But basically, you just have a little tear piece here like this, and you can feel how sticky it is. And I'm gonna just tear it off, and one side is smooth, the other side has the tack to it. And I'm just gonna put that over top of my lid, or sorry, over top of my medium here. And I'm just gonna give it a bit of a press, and then I'm going to seal it up. Just like that. Now I have a little bit of overhang here. I didn't need to do that, but it is what it is. Okay, so now I'm going to pick up my stencil, remove my, okay, let's see if I can get this up here. My nails aren't in as sharp because I've got a couple of layers of polish on them today. All right, let's see if we can get that off then. Ooh, there we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do is you can just see where that E and that A is there. Oh, there we go. I can put my finger right there. Okay. Now I'm just going to put this to the side here for a second, because I want to be able to get, I'm going to lay this face down on a baby wipe so that it stays a little bit wet, so that I can take that and wash it as soon as I'm done with the video. And then I'm going to give this a quick wipe. So essentially, the transfer gel is basically a glue. So, that's why you really want to make sure that you're getting into your wiping it up as soon as you can, or taking your things to, if you were doing multiple of these, which is what I did the first time, I was playing with this, is I did, I think I did 14 or 15 of them all at once, and just had a really fun time. But I also had a bucket of water next to me that I could throw my my stencils into so that it stayed moist so that I could get it to my into my sink with the soap. Okay, so you're not going to be able to see this because it's kind of a white gel on top of white paper, but you can just see where there's a little bit of depth. And I did unfortunately smudge my stamp or my stencil down here, but that's okay because I can trim that off when I go to make the card and things like that. So I'm going to put this aside and let it dry. It'll probably be, well, I left them for 24 hours. I don't think you need 24 hours, but I liked having the 24 hours just to make sure that it was dry enough to use, because this is actually going to dry tacky, and that's what's going to help our medium stick to this, right? So our foil, because that's what we're looking to do. So I'm just going to put that aside in a safe place where hopefully I won't manage to smudge it. And I'm going to put away my craft surface here because I don't need that anymore. And by the magic of television, here we go. So this is one of the ones that I worked on about a week ago. No, I was on holidays last week, so this would have been 2 weeks ago. So this one's already dry, slightly tacky. Okay, and I'll show you some of the other ones just so you can get an idea of what they look like. I had so much fun doing this. I haven't obviously turned these all into cards, but check out that shine. Bing-a-dingy. Okay, this one has this beautiful mandala. I only have the 2 colors in the mink foil. I have many, many more, or sorry, in the Deco foil. But I love these. They almost look like snakeskin. So cool. Another one looks like snakeskin. And so yeah, just pull out your stencils and have a hoot, because these are so cool. Look at how gorgeous that is. That's this. No, I lied. That's not the same stencils. Similar. Okay. And then, yeah. So that's what. So I have those to make and to finish crafting. But I only have 2 of these because I didn't want to invest a ton of them, because I have a lot of hot foil rolls already. So I didn't want to get a ton of these guys. So I love the rainbow one, but I am going to use the blue one because I haven't used it as much. So I'm going to put the rainbow one to the side. So in each one of these packages, you get 5 transfer sheets. So yeah, here we go. So they come in these long-ish pieces here. Okay. Now keep every scrap because you just never know what you're going to be using them for. Okay. You might be able to find other things that you can do it with. So you get these long sheets. Okay. So that's 2 of them. So when you're playing with foil, you want to make sure that you're trying to keep it as dust free as possible. You don't want to get them dusty. Any place where you've got foil, it's and you get dust on, that's going to interfere with your transfer. Okay. I'm just gonna pin this here like that. Put that to the side. We don't necessarily need that. So if I were to take, for example, so I've got this leftover strip of blue foil. Well, that's not going to necessarily be big enough to do a big piece of full card like this. But if I were to take some black or some white or navy blue, something like that, cardstock, and just put my Deco foil on it, I don't have to put it through if I did my transfer medium, this thing here, if I were to do that and just do a layer of that, I could then stick this down and die cut a sentiment or something out of it. Okay. So in order to keep these safe, I am going to roll these back together so that there's not, I'm trying to reduce the amount of contamination of dust. Okay, so I can't see this here, but I'm just trying to roll them together. That's the other thing, is I find this this Deco foil this way, like using it this way. Some people use page protectors, like almost like the ones that you can get. It's not rolling together. Oh, that's because you're rolling it the wrong way. Page protectors that you can just get at the dollar store or something like that, and they take them out of these rolls because these rolls are a little pain in the butt to try and get that thing back together. But they'll use a page protector and keep all of their foils in one binder. So there we go. So I've sealed that back up because I'm in my basement and things get a little dusty down here, which I don't want, again, to be doing. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, okay, so you can see where the tacky, you can see where it's shiny. I'm going to take that, and I think, okay, we're going to have to do this because it's been a while and I can't remember. So I'm going to try this first. And I did this both ways last time. Maybe the instructions are on there. I can't remember if I did it up or down. Okay, so we're going to try it out. Okay. So all we need to do right now then is have some pressure. Okay, so I am going to use my die cutting machine. Yep. Okay. So let's put these. So all I've done is just like if I was doing a regular die cut, all I've done is put it in between two pieces of two of my plates. Okay, and I'm just gonna run that through my die cutting machine. So this is just my big kick in whatever sandwich you need to use in order to have pressure if you were cutting a regular thin die. Okay, that's all you need. It doesn't need a ton of pressure. Let me see if I did this the right way. Ooh, I did. Okay, I'm going to run it through again. I'm actually going to throw a little shim in there because it didn't get as much pressure as I would like it to. So I have this great little metallic shim or metal shim that came with my Gemini Junior, which is super handy. So because this is going to be for a slimline card, I might need to kind of bump this out just a little bit. So I'm just going to move this into back further because I kind of missed that one area. Now, if you had enough pressure, you could actually put this in a stack of books too. If you had like really heavy books, that would work as well. You don't have to have a die cutting machine in order to make this work. That's what's really cool. All right, I'm going to put my shim away, and I'm going to put this plate away because that's use that for something else. And I'm going to put my die cut machine to the side here. Okay. All right, now you guys ready? So you can see here where it's pressed. Now this is pretty cool looking as well. If you wanted to and you had done a full sheet, you could actually either trim this down and just have this stick and do your card that way, kind of blind people there, which, you know, I love a bit of bling. But watch this. This is so fun. Ooh. There we go. Look at that. How cool. And it did an absolutely gorgeous, oh, excuse me, did an absolutely gorgeous job foiling it. There's not anything that got missed. How gorgeous is that? Isn't that stunning? That is going to make a beautiful card. Okay. And then if you have, so if I were to take a, like a plain sheet of black or white or whatever, and I were to cover this again. So because I have a hot foil machine, I can actually use this in my hot foil machine and use the rest of the transfer. But if you don't have a hot foil machine, you could do the same thing. Okay, so you would take this, take your transfer gel. Okay, so it doesn't have to be the duo again because we're not using heat. So take your transfer gel and do a light coating all the way across here. Okay, nice thin light coating. Run this through. Okay, every place that there is still foil on here would then transfer and stick on here. So you would have the black, instead of having the pattern where the blue is all of those, almost like those little feathers or the droplets or whatever, what would happen instead is you would have a more solid color like this. Okay, and where all of these little black the little black droplets are, you would still have the transfer gel there, so you could go over that with a silver. So you could have the silver coming up through the blue, or you could do the rainbow, or you could do pink, or you could do brown or gold or whatever. Okay, so you don't throw this away, you still use this. Okay, so I'm also going to fold this, not fold it, but I'm going to roll this up. What's really handy is if you do keep these in a binder with the page protectors and things like that, you put your um, used foil like this in there, but do it in a separate one where you keep your used ones. But because this all color goes together and I haven't set that up, I am just going to stick this used one, okay, into here, and I will do that at a later date. Okay, so this is what we've done today, okay? And I'm going to put that to the side because I'm not going to make that card, because the one that I have ready to go here is this guy. This was another stencil that I had done. Okay, so this is kind of the wind, or this is supposed to be waves and water. So I'm making a men's card. I have this beautiful die, and I cut it out 3 times. So I cut it out of regular 65-pound cardstock, black, and stacked them. And then I have the Tonic Studios glossy or mirrored black cardstock. Sorry, I got just a little bit of glue there. And I stacked them together because when you have something that has so much depth, detail, and shine, okay, you want it to pop off a little bit. When it's you know, if it's just flat against there, it's very nice, but to step up your card a little bit, it's always nice to have that little bit of dimension, okay? That's what I did on here, because having this silver so close to this shattered silver, it made it seem flat, and you kind of lose some of the detail. So instead, I popped this one up with foam tape, is what I did on that one. Okay, so I'm just going to put this together quickly. We're only doing the one card today. You guys will have to watch the next video when I do the heat, the transfer gel, and use the Deco Foil. I'll use the Deco, I'll probably do 2 then, because I'll use the Deco Foil plus the hot foil that I have. And yeah, we'll do that. Whoopsie. So this is a standard A2 size card base, okay, tent fold or top fold A2. So that means it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And the card panel, the front that I was using here that I did originally, was the same size. And I've just taken a 1/4 inch all the way around. So it's 4 inches now by 5 1/4. And that looks pretty straight enough for me. Okay. The reason why I'm not going to use foam tape on this particular die is because it's so fine. There's no way I would be able to get foam tape in behind all of these little rays and everything like that. That's why I cut it out a couple of times and stacked it. But sometimes when you're dealing with specialty cardstock, you get a few of the little fibers still sticking off of there. Okay, so now I'm just going to go through, and because there is texture on my paper, that's another good reason to be using a liquid glue, because it will at least stick, kind of dribble into a few of those areas and stick to the foil, to the raised area at least. I don't want it so much that it's going to smush out, but fortunately this is Barely Arts glue, and it will dry clear. So even if I do have some seepage, that's a funny word. Anyway, if I do have some that smooshes out, it will still dry clear, which would be good. Okay, so I'm kind of liking how this circular area kind of goes here. So I want to make sure that I'm kind of catching that. And you can see here, I've got like a smidge there where my medium kind of smushed in my stencil. So we're going to put, don't throw it away, still perfectly good, because look at my die cut covers it beautifully. All right. That. Pin back in so that my glue doesn't dry. And I'm just putting some pressure on here. Ooh, I might have tilted that a little bit. That's okay. All right. Yeah, and I did smoosh it out just a little bit there. That's okay. Okay. And that is actually how I'm going to leave the card. I'm actually just going to leave it simple because it's very busy already with the background foil and then the detail in the die. So I'm just going to leave the die as it's you know, as the focal point, rather than adding a sentiment, but I did leave room. I could have moved this up and I could have had a sentiment here, or I could have moved that down and had a happy birthday, like a small thin one. I could have done that, but I just really wanted this to stand out. I can put my sentiment stamp in a happy birthday, or thinking of you, or sending long distance hugs. I mean, it's really great die cut there. Okay, everybody, that's the class for today. I hope you hope everybody learned something. Again, trying out Deco Foil Transfer Gel Duo, either or will work just fine. See here it says use with or without heat. That is the Duo one. Transfer Gel, you can only use without heat. Okay, so just something to keep in mind. And so without using heat, all you need is the pressure. So die cut machine, some heavy books, some stencils, and then the foil. And the one for using without heat, you need to have Deco Foil. That's the only one that'll work, basically. Craft Stash has some other ones, but the ones that are the most convenient to get, you can check out. If it says to use without heat, that's what you can use these for. Okay. If you have any questions, by all means, pop them into the comments section. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing, and welcome to all of the new viewers who have been subscribing. I will see you in the next video, and take care, everyone. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.